And Jennifer, the one thing we talked about when I first came on is put every ordinance you have online. I mean, people have, imagine the complication of figuring out what they can and can't do. It takes staff's time, it takes you away from your efficiency. That updating of just your ordinance online, it's on the webpage. I mean, that's what people are looking for.
How close are we, Brad, to getting that ready, the computers ready for scanning those ordinances?
2 to 3 days.
Brad's been working relentlessly on our computers to get us there and volunteer, and thank you for that.
I talked to Megan once. There are companies that do bulk scanning, and they can do OCR, optical character recognition. They could get those on. I personally don't know how to do it, but I know I've hired companies in the past that have done that. Back in the days when OSHA PSM was promulgated, companies had to put all of their policies, procedures, everything out there available. And it's like, put those in a very large scanner and they just scan them all. But they look for keywords like ordinance numbers and things like that. And then you've got electronic copies. They're all PDFs. If you want to edit them, there's optical character recognition that will turn it into a Word document or a Pages document for editing. There are companies that do that. I gotta believe with companies like Procter & Gamble and big GE and big companies like that, since there are companies here that will do that bulk scanning and loading if you want to hire.
So your ordinance book is American Legal Publishing will do it all for you. So most cities all have it already. I mean, I'm surprised you couldn't hit it. But you hit it, and if you search animal, it'll pull up every ordinance that has an animal in it. And it's not expensive because they do it, they print the books.
Yes.
But if you, once you put that link on there, here's a code of ordinances for city printing, you got a webpage, and then all of a sudden people can link in, they can see it. So like the Airbnb, they can see the rules.
Right.
It's just so hard to.
With your comment before, the labor is prohibitive, and I'm saying it can be done by contracting it out and making them all electronically. Now, if it's junk going in, it's going to be junk on the webpage, okay? But there's ways of doing this that takes the labor out of it as opposed to scanning one page at a time.
Probably could take the cities. Identify someone that could do that for us. I'm sure other cities are having the same issue.
Maybe KLC does that. Maybe KLC does.
Well, I just said.
Turn your hearing aid on.
Okay, next on the agenda, the code enforcement officer, we have a couple people that have shown interest, and we'll be moving on that as soon as we can.
Are there anyone different from the last group that applied?
Yes. Any questions on that? And my apologies, early tonight I failed to mention if anybody wanted to add anything to the agenda, you're more than welcome to now. If you have anything that you want to discuss.
I have a couple of things. I haven't seen the posting of the last two ordinances we voted on, the copies and the bidding threshold.
Yeah, it was 10 days, and then that goes to the newspaper.
I got it sent in when I came back.
I haven't seen it in the newspaper, but.
It should be in this.
Oh, this one, okay, okay.
I do have some things for council, some different questions that I was asked. The caucus meeting was asked to be changed to 6 p.m. That way, if it takes longer, we can get out here quicker. It's still on the fourth Tuesday of the month. The code enforcement meetings, did we agree on that third Tuesday of the month?
It was a complication for one, but that's kind of rolling now. So, figure out what's hard.
The regular council meetings will remain the same, first Tuesday of the month at 7 p.m. Here's where we're at with that. Every 2 years, if we do get new council members and they want to change the day and time, I mean, we knew this going into, I'm not trying to be mean, but we would have to change it for the new council members, if they come in. We knew what time it was and what day it was. We'll leave it at that. No, it doesn't apply. This Council Humphreys had a question sent to me by email this evening for Pete. Anybody's welcome to sit anywhere they'd like to. I feel like the clerk and the city attorney beside me is preferable in case I have questions, but you guys, I mean, there's no assigned seats. You guys okay with that? Also, the table this way for the caucus, the table straight way for the voting, the vote night council meeting. What I'd like to do is try to do what we did tonight, talk about the ordinances, study the ordinances, how we want to vote on the ordinances, and be ready for council meeting night so we can come in and do the vote. This is why we have a work meeting, is to get everything out, questions in the open, and so forth. Any response to that?
I've got a question about why we can't have the tables like this on our regular council meeting, because I like to read lips too, and like to look in people's faces when they're talking. And when we're shooting down here like this, you can't see anything.
Honestly, if you're facing the crowd, this is, if the crowd's here, this is who we're here for, is the crowd. Tonight, it's for us to work on things together.
But when a council person asks us a question and we're responding to the council person, we need to be able to look at the council person or the mayor when we're talking to. If you ask me a question, I don't need to be looking over here and not being talking to you. It's like-
Honestly, Danny, with what's happened in the past, I've seen play off of each other, and I'd rather have it straight way so we can just take a vote and move on with the meeting.
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we vote to see how the council people want at the next meeting, how we want the tables to be set up.
As chair, we're going to keep that the way it is.
I'll make a motion next meeting.
You can make a motion, it's not going to change.
I'm gonna say that really sounds illogical, Mayor. I think it's very, very helpful for us to be able to speak with each other, turning 90 degrees.
It's a vote night, Joe. It's not something that we want to come in and be here for 3 hours.
But we've got to be able to communicate and say,
If there's discussion on an ordinance, for instance, if we have a second reading on it, it's time for second reading, but we have some discussion that we want to do, and we're not supposed to quorum, outside of here. We need to have that discussion in here. We need to be able to look at each other, especially those of us who can't hear as well.
That's why we have microphones now. That's what you requested, that's what we did, that's
I
what we
want to see
got.
people's faces. If you remember, Mayor, I requested
We're here
that.
for the public on council night.
Well, we're here for both. We're here to conduct city business, and the public needs to be able to hear us. So there's two things there. There's not just,
The city will remain the same. I asked Todd Roberts to look at 208 property and let Dwayne Wilson know what changes regarding cleanup. Todd, did you get a hold of him?
I went up there, we pulled the, I guess it would be the foundations for the trailer. He said he must have missed it, he got all the other ones, so we pulled those up, and there was a large tree stump that I asked him about. He said that the roots were into the rock, and he tried to get it out the last time he was here, and after looking at it, I was like, oh, I'm really gonna let that one rock, because it's a pretty good sized chunk. But aside from that, it's still gonna be rough mowing for the first 3 or 4 shots at it, but
Yeah, JD and I talked about that. He'll just have to lift the blade up until we can get that leveled out a little bit better. Credit card receipts for all council members. This was requested by Council Member Humphreys. We're working on that maybe. The receipts for all
Yes.
council members' credit card. Line item budget request, Council Member Humphreys.
Can you email me and tell me exactly what you're wanting on that?
I actually brought a copy of it.
Okay.
I'd like to kind of share that with everybody if it's okay. I'll share with you. I brought you a copy of the KRS about accounting records, 91A.020 and 91A.030, and a copy also of a P&L of a year or so ago from this council. And my thought in researching about accounting and reporting and full disclosure, it pretty much says that you can read the first 4 pages, pretty simple. But on the second page, 91A030s, number 11, that the responsibility of submitting to the legislative body of operating standards or statements should include budgetary comparisons of each governmental fund for which an annual budget has been adopted, and these reports shall be submitted not less than once every 3 months in the fiscal year. So that, I think it's hard for us to vote on expenditures when we don't know what line item it's coming out of, and we don't know how much money is left in that line item. So I just took this P&L, just like for an example, if we had, and I feel like your software probably will do this. If it doesn't, just let me know, and I don't know, maybe we need to switch to new software. But if it would show like a year-to-date spending in the first column, and then what the budget is in the second column, and in the third column, what's left in that line item. So this is just an example, but is that okay?
Yep.
Okay. And if we could get that quarterly, okay, thank you, appreciate it. And then the last KRS that is on the back of that was about the ordinances and having them indexed. And I just kind of wanted to see where we were on that as well, but we already discussed that, so thank you.
And lastly, on this list here is, there was a complaint about brush. Is that St. Elizabeth's property, Council Humphreys, that you had sent the email?
Yeah, that came directly from them.
Was it St. Elizabeth's property there?
You know, I haven't been able to look at it, I just sent it on to the city.
Okay. Because I think it's a mound of dirt is what it is, but I'll have to call PVA and see who owns that.
What is it?
I think it's, I don't even know, I think it's besides St. Anne and Zala Properties who actually owns that property.
And somebody was complaining about, you know, how come they don't have to clean this up and, you know, that's.
It's hard to see through them. I know today JD called because like total care, like pulling out a total care right in that area is hard to see, but that's right away, and the state said they're working their way this way, so.
So to get clarifications, next Tuesday we'll be voting on the Airbnb, correct? Possibly going an executive session for 208 property.
Yeah.
And also the ordinance for the, oh, go ahead.
We'll have the new first reading.
Yeah,
That'd be the first
we
one.
Curfew.
said that we didn't talk about it tonight, but we said last time that we were going to try to have a revised version. I think, and Alex and I probably do need to get together one way or another on that. Okay, we see.
And I also, you're first.
Me first?
Oh,
No, go ahead.
I also did an updated curfew ordinance, and if you look at the old one, there was no penalty phase. This has got quite a bit of teeth to it, and whoever violates it, I mean, it's always the discretion of the sheriff that's stopping them, but it actually has, you get in trouble. I mean, before there was no trouble. So I would highly recommend, you know, if you get a chance, take a look at it, see if the penalty, if you all think it's too strict, make some comments, and maybe we can start doing what we can to put this on there. And we've also got, there's a provision that requests that the sheriff come back and tell you if it's working or not. I mean, what do you find? I mean, are they juveniles? I mean, you stop them and you actually engage them. It puts an affirmative duty on the sheriff's department. I know you all have said in the past, we'd like to see our get a bang for a buck. The perfect way to do it is to have these reports that come in and talk to you about some of these crimes that potentially could be committed. So just a suggestion, we can, again, everything here is, we X out if you all think it's too intrusive, so.
What we had talked about, Alex, also the fees for code enforcement. Do we want to go on executive session for that, or is that something?
We can talk about that as open as we want. We did. If we would have been feeing that house, we'd have owned it. They would have literally had enough, a fee, they would have, because they would have complied, and they would have had at least a maximum. It would have been worth $10,000, they'd have given it to us, and you all would have had no use property. So I really want to see this get done for you all. I think it's so important, really clean up the city and give you a tool so you don't have to sit there with on your thumbs. I mean, it's just so difficult to watch.
I really appreciate you working on that.
We've got a long way to go, but it'll be a big thing for you all when we get done.
Update on Oakwood, Debbie, still waiting to hear back from Nick Vanover with the commission on that grant.
I wasn't here for that, I
That's
just,
okay.
yeah, I'm just here
I
to
just want
listen.
to give you an update.
Well, thank you.
And like we talked, Eugene Codarn is purchasing that property, the burnout house in Oakwood. Eugene Codarn is a developer or a builder. He is buying that property for his daughter, from what I know of, and going to rehab that. I have talked to him about an easement for that street, right
Was he
there.
willing to give that easement?
We hadn't, he sounded promising, so I hadn't really discussed it further because there was a mortgage on that property and they
Yeah,
was
that's